I had a couple things written down from Hasan. Like I said, he disagreed with me bringing up the DPRK or had some disagreements about the DPRK. So I'm right now trying to create an effort on Twitter to get myself on Hasan Piker's show and on TikTok. So go to our TikTok and tag Hasan Piker, or go to our Twitter under the tweet where I'm trying to get his attention and tag him. Tell him to have me on the show for a discussion so we could talk about the DPRK and, areas of agreement. So hopefully I'll handle the DPRK thing with Hasan. But what I wanted to bring up here was this guy, Cam, asks me, how do you set prices in a nationalized healthcare system or in a socialist healthcare system? And Hasan answers what I answered when we reacted to the Jubilee Middle Ground episode on the Midwestern Marx YouTube. I said, you set them based on cost. You have people pay for the healthcare services what they actually cost to produce, rather than paying what they cost plus what it takes to pay the profits of shareholders and giant pharmaceutical companies, which is what we pay now, which greatly inflates prices. And then Hasan even brings up a video of medical prices being negotiated in China and showing how they do it. So I thought we could check that out.
Can I real quick just was he trying to say like economic calculation problem, that thing?
Yes. Yes, that's their only argument.
How do people still believe in that in 2023?
It's hard to believe.
By the way, I wonder here if this is racially motivated. Future Homestead is calling our friend here Ratatouille. The only Jewish person on this panel is getting called a rat. I don't appreciate that. What's going on, Future Homestead? I expect more of you than these debased racist jokes. And I'm just fucking with you.
Future Homestead is anti-Semitic confirmed. The Midwestern Marx audience is anti-Semitic confirmed.
As a Jew.
Wait till they find out Noah's Jewish. They're going to stop watching. Up in a sec.
To keep their income under a certain level so they can collect a certain amount of government money to be taken away. And we have a problem in this country where 45,000 people are dying every single year because they don't have access to basic health insurance. And I think if we were to nip that in the bud and nationalize those giant pharmaceutical companies and make sure that healthcare is provided to everyone, we would actually...
Also, as far as novel chemical compound development goes, the overwhelming majority of publicly funded research contributes to that dramatically, and every other country with socialized healthcare systems and better publicly, like more ease of access to public institutions all the way up to college, unironically perform better than the United States of America in per capita novel chemical compound development. America obviously beats the rest of the world in totality because we have a shit ton of people here and a shit ton of brain drain. However, when you look at those metrics, European countries still beat America on novel chemical compound development per capita, which means that they make more with less. Those are less costly initiatives for the most part, and they yield better results. So it's not even efficient.
They stimulate a lot of innovation, a lot of labor, and a lot of hard work in this country because people would be less bogged down by medical bills and would be more healthy in general.
So without a market, if the pharmaceutical industry specifically is nationalized, how does the state set prices effectively?
Before you get to that point, did you want to say?
What do you mean? Wait, what?
It doesn't make any sense.
How does he think this happens in China?
It doesn't make any sense. They just believe in the economic calculation problem like it's a dogma, right? They claim, no, you can't set prices based on cost. No, even though there are all sorts of countries who do this in practice, those aren't real. Because of the economic calculation problem, we can't nationalize anything. Otherwise, there won't be prices. Yes, there will be. You just charge based on cost. And it's not like the market per se totally goes away. There's still goods and services being exchanged, meaning there's still supply and there's still demand, which is what the neoclassicals claim is the setter of prices. So this argument doesn't make any sense.
Not only that, giant conglomerates do this all the time. Like within the ECP was flawed when it came out. But the fact that we've had computers capable of giving people inputs for like 50 years and they've been used for that long just makes it seem silly and makes them seem ideological. Like every economy of scale is planned, period. The question is who is doing the planning and in whose interests.
Yep.
by cost, by how much it costs. That's it. Like, what do you mean?
Oh, that's great that he got it right.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Good for Hasan.
To the developers, and that's how you do it.
And he's also a little bit confused, like I was. Like, what do you even mean?
Right.
How do you set prices?
Yeah.
It's only if you believe in this dogmatic idea of the ECP that there are no prices under, a nationalized system, that you would even think that.
There is literally I think this is the video that I know you're going to point. Yeah, here it is. Here's how China negotiates its drug prices after 3 initial offers from the farmer rep. What a government that actually seeks the best interest of its people looks like. But this is also similar to. I don't have authorization for a lower price. Official says 4.62 per pill. I feel there's still some room left. With such a big market in China, I will give you 5 minutes to call your CEO for a price. By the way, this is like, if I'm not mistaken, this is literally not the state nationalized pharmaceutical company. This is a pharmaceutical company from a European or American pharmaceutical corporation that wants to enter the Chinese market. This bargaining process occurs in every country. We did not need to use a Chinese example for this. We can use an example from every other country with the exception of the United States of America. Every single country on the fucking planet, in every single developing nation, in every single developed nation, every single nation across the board, this bargaining agreement occurs before a drug enters the marketplace. America is the only country where this process that you are watching doesn't have to be China. Okay, remember, imagine these guys are white, and imagine they're speaking not a scary language like Mandarin, but instead a language that you understand, like American English. Okay, well, not American English, but okay, Canada, America. Canada has negotiations as well, pharmaceutical price negotiations. So yeah, imagine if they're speaking English in the UK English. Ooh, not scary. They're white now. Okay, they're white and they're speaking in English in the UK, and they're like, "Oh, bruv, you want this fucking medicine into the fucking market, yeah?" And then the other guy's like, "Oh no, mate, my CEO told me I can't fucking send this drug into the market in it. It's too low of a price." And the guy's like, "You want a fucking license? You better call up your CEO, mate, and fucking tell him we're not buying unless it's cheaper." And then the guy's like, "Fuck, no, all right, innit? What about my profit incentive?" And then the guy goes, "We know you're making profit. It doesn't fucking matter. It's going to sell like fucking hotcakes, yeah?" And then boom, all of a sudden, they arrive at a price point that is more manageable. And that's how you keep pharmaceutical prices low in every other country, with the exception of the United States of America, where that process is illegal, with the exception of with the VA, which Obama changed on his way out. And that's slowly started to sneak into like insulin, I guess. But the reality is that it's illegal to do pharmaceutical price negotiations in the United States of America.
So there you go.
God, that was awesome.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's hilarious, but not wrong. The idea that this is like the prices that they're paying are just magically worked out by this market is just beyond silly. Like, oh, people all say, "Well, no, we don't think we'll pay the 562." And they're like, "Well, fuck, what are we going to do? I mean, what are we going to do, Governor?" Right? Like, Jesus Christ. I don't understand how otherwise intelligent people just shut their brains off and go, "Yeah, that must be how it works." There's, these corporations are just like, whatever people want, we give it at that price. That is the silliest way of doing it. Prices are set before you buy anything. There's production costs, labor costs, like all that goes into it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the vast majority of I was looking through the comments and trying to like categorize them as best as I could on the original Jubilee video. And there seems to be different sorts of comments. There's the comments that are just using racist stereotypes against Malumbo, which we talked about that when he was on. I hadn't seen the comments yet. I saw him after, and I was like, holy shit, he was fucking right as fuck. There's the comments that are like kind of like praising Eddie and saying that the communist side won. And then there's the comments that are like telling Jubilee how they could do these sorts of debates better, whether it's like letting them last longer, and most people are used to listening to podcasts, or doing things like letting people bring in stats and notebooks and all these other things and making it explicit that they can do that. So I think that the reception was pretty good. Guys, we are in the USA. We have had billions of dollars spent by our government to make us as anti-communist as possible. The fact that Eddie and Malumbo and other people can go on to defend communism in front of millions of people and the reception is not 99% negative is a huge fucking win. The reception has been, I want to say, largely positive to our side. And then it gets picked up by people by Hasan who, I don't watch him, but every time I've seen him, it almost seems like he's getting better and better and better as time goes by, which is the natural tendency of people who study. And then hundreds of thousands or millions of people see it through him. I don't know how big his audience is. So I think if we step back and we look at what this represents in terms of like the transformation of the social consciousness of the American people is incredible. I don't think we have ever been in U.S. history at a time quite like our own, where so many people, especially young folks, are open to the ideas of communism and debating them openly in forums such as these.
Exactly, and it's getting harder to reject our arguments, right? It's getting harder to deny, partially because of the growth of a socialist superpower like China and everything that they've been able to accomplish. As our buddy Diego Rusarin says, it makes it a lot easier to argue for communism, or China's making it easy because, they can, like when the economic calculation problem first came about in like the early 1920s, von Mises was saying, there can be no economic calculation ever. It's impossible to calculate a socialist economy, period. Trust me. And now we can pull up a video of them calculating prices in China and negotiating prices in China and be like, what are you talking about, Mr. Cam Higbee? What do you mean you can't calculate prices? They're literally doing it, as Hasan said, not even just in China, but in every country in the world, because we're the only country that doesn't have any form of public health care or any kind of public health care system. So socialism is becoming undeniable, right? Because what communism is the real movement of history. And what Marxist theory is actually, a blueprint for building a superior economic system to capitalism that actually takes care of the people and allows them to flourish rather than exploiting them for more and more and more profit. And we're seeing that reality. We're seeing it with the Cuban healthcare system. We're seeing it with China's overall economic development. We're seeing it with the Belt and Road Initiative, right? And it's becoming undeniable that socialism is a superior system to capitalism. And we're getting more and more and more and more young Americans who know their theory, who know their shit, who know their history, who know the history of existing socialist countries, and they can no longer be lied to by this imperialist propaganda. Voice crack. Not only are they immune to the imperialist propaganda themselves, or largely immune, I guess none of us are fully immune, but not only do they have the theoretical background deconstructed themselves, but they're teaching it to others and they're explaining it to others. And then people are growing up with alternative information and alternative narratives about communism that the boomers and older generations never got, because communism was completely ripped out of academia, out of entertainment media, and out of the news media. So we're moving in the right direction, folks. And that's why Hasan Piker needs to have me on his show.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. China, the example.
No, 1 second. I was talking. I thought I was muted though. That's all fine and dandy, Eddie, but that voice crack was beta. So it ruins everything. It's a red pill moment of